Draymond Green. Oh man, interesting. Draymond Green. Man. Well, ever since he signed the Clutch Sports, man. Oh boy, Draymond Green and Clutch Sports. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be a good episode. Draymond Green and Clutch Sports. I heard this soundbite before. It's probably a year or two old. I heard this soundbite, and I ain't think nothing of it, man. But then I started thinking, like, man, the things he's saying, man, like this ain't it. This ain't it. So I'm gonna play for you what Draymond Green. First of all, Draymond Green said LeBron got drafted in 2003, and by 2005 he was already the best player in the league. Are you serious? And then he said he was the best player all the way to 2020. So you trying to make the claim LeBron was the best player in the league for 15 years in the middle of Kobe Bryant's prime? Come on, man. But you're gonna have to hear this twice because I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it once so you can hear it in its entirety fully without any pauses. But then I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna break down each of his points that he's trying to make, which are several points, but incomplete points at that. You know what I mean? Like incomplete, like if I say, I'm the greatest singer of all time because can't nobody do what I do. But I don't tell you what it is I do. I just say, yeah, can't nobody do what I do. And you're like, okay, what do you do? Like, what is it that you do that's good that can't nobody else do? That's how Draymond was talking. Like he was talking in incomplete sentences. I've never said this is worse. This is worse than the David West bigger, stronger, faster take from a video a couple of days ago. But listen to Draymond try to explain why LeBron is number one on the GOAT list.
Who your top five?
My top five is LJ number one, MJ number two, Kobe number three, Steph number four, and Shaq number five.
Okay. You got Bron first.
Yes, because what Bron has done, like when you talk about Cicely Tyson,
yeah,
Bron started in 03. By 2005, Bron was the best player in the NBA.
Yeah.
In 2020, he was still the best player in the NBA. He was the best player in the NBA no matter what the game did. The game went from two slugs, like slow big man, to like a stretch four big man, to like back to two big men, to like big man.
You out there playing the phone
like, and he's been the best no matter what. When you look at the teams that Bron has carried to championship, or carried to the finals. MJ didn't beat the greatest team ever assembled, nor did he run up against the greatest team ever assembled every year. You look at the skill set that Bron has. There's nobody that has ever played the game of basketball that can do what LeBron James does on a basketball court. Nobody. Michael Jordan could do just about all that LeBron James does. Except for he for damn sure couldn't pass like Bron.
They had a vision like that.
I love MJ. I think MJ is incredible. Like MJ is MJ. Like we all wanted to be like Mike. Like I wear 23. Come on now. Like we all want to be like Mike. But what LeBron has been able to do and how he can control a game and like to do it this long. Like MJ retired. Like this shit's grueling. Like going to the finals year after year after year. Bron went 8 or 9 straight.
9 straight.
Like MJ took a break and right in the heat of that shit. Bron ain't taking no break. You know what he did? Went again and again and again and again.
With different guys every time.
And again. So for me, that's why it's Bron over MJ for me. And on top of that, the talent nowadays is way better. And I'm sure one of the old going to say, you out of your mind, and this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. The talent is way better. Just like the talent at Apple is way better than the talent that was working at Apple in 1991.
Right. Game is way better, way different now. And it's crazy, Bron's still up there, man.
So still doing it, still doing it.
1 or 2, 3, you know.
Year
best
20.
in the league. It's crazy.
It's year 20.
20 is crazy.
Playing at a high level.
He's still at the top of the discussion in year 20.
I hear.
All right, that was 2020 when they did that. I think it was probably after he won that bubble ring. So I'm gonna play this again and I'm gonna pause it and I'm gonna I guess deal with each point that he tried to make. But before I even started, I do want to say this, and this is me personally. I wish everyone would think something similar like this, but this is me personally, right? When we're talking about who's better, and especially when we're talking about the GOAT or the all-time list, let's take it before LeBron, before Kobe, before all of that. It was a consensus. There was a lot of people that agreed that it was Michael Jordan. Overwhelmingly a lot. It's still overwhelming, but even more then, right? You had your older guys who probably still would say Kareem or Wilt or Dr. J. I mean, some might even say Oscar, right? But it was very few people that would say that. Most people would agree Michael Jordan is the best we ever seen. But it just depends on what your criteria is on determining who the GOAT is. Your criteria might just be rings, and you might say it's Russell, right? I mean, for somebody to win that many times, 11 times, he's got to be the GOAT, right? So it might be different for people, but for me, Michael Jordan showed, well, his motivation for playing in the league was to perfect his craft, perfect everything about basketball that he could, that he needed to win. Right, that's what he was doing. So Michael Jordan had two motivations: become a complete basketball player on both ends of the floor and win. Right, his motivation wasn't the stats. His motivation wasn't awards and all this stuff. His motivation was, how good can I get? How many holes can I fill that's in my game? Because some people admit, Kenny Smith said Michael Jordan couldn't handle the ball that well at North Carolina when he showed up. By the time he got to the league, he was a great ball handler, right? A lot of people said that Michael Jordan's jump shot wasn't all that good when he got to the league at first. By the time he was in year 2 or 3, his jump shot was phenomenal, right? So things of that nature. Like, so he was. People said he wasn't that strong the way Detroit was throwing him around. He got in the weight room, hired a trainer, got really, really strong. So that's what MJ was on. Perfect my game. I want to be able to do it all on both ends, and then I want to win. That was his motivation. So with that being his motivation, he actually became a complete basketball player with not many holes in his game, if any. A lot of people say he had no weaknesses, no holes in his game. So I go with that. No weaknesses, no holes in his game. And then once he became a complete player and he started winning, then we was like, oh man, this dude racking up championships. And once he racked up 6 championships, and then we look at, everything else he achieved, oh man, 10 scoring titles, 9 times all defensive team, defensive player of the year, steals champion, number 1 blocks for guards all time. Until that got broken by D-Wade, things of that nature, right? Playing all 82 games out of his 15-year career, he probably did it 11 or 12 times, played all 82 games. That's crazy. Right. So, we were able to look at his paper resume, but what was first and foremost in the foundation of Michael Jordan being the GOAT was being a complete player and winning. Now, I say that to say this. Kobe followed him and had the same motivation. I want to be a better player than Michael Jordan. I want to be complete. Everything that Michael Jordan perfected, I want to perfect it and more. So he went in the lab and was doing the same thing, getting stronger, asking questions. Oh, I want to be good at defense, picking Gary Payton's brain when he was, just anybody he would just talk to and pick their brain, trying to get better. Talked to all the Laker greats. He even went and talked to some Celtics greats, Larry Bird and Bill Russell. He would talk to anybody that he wanted to pick their brain to get better, right? And that came from Gary Payton's mouth himself and Kobe's mouth. Like, that's how he was. And you seen clips of it when he was at the All-Star game playing against Jordan, and he asked him how he did a certain thing in the post. How did you feel that I was about to go that way? Blah, blah, all this stuff. That's what he was a student. He was trying to perfect his game, and he got daggone very, very, very close. Robert Ory would say that he got very close. Michael Jordan had the game that had no holes, and he said Kobe had the game with very few holes, which was really only his post defense. He said everything else he had filled those holes, just like Jordan did. So we got a player with almost no holes and a player with no holes, by the standards of a lot of players, saying that. So the comparison started because we can see on the court, man, this guy is complete. This guy can hoop. This guy is unstoppable. He's ferocious on defense. The comparison started. Where Kobe fell a little short at is with his resume. His resume isn't as stacked as Michael Jordan's. So the GOAT debate between Jordan and Kobe stopped kind of quick. But it started because Kobe made himself a complete player. Now we get to LeBron James. His motivation was, I want to be the GOAT. But he didn't look at Kobe and Mike and said, man, they perfected their game. They got the jump shot, the mid-range, the post, the footwork. They're playing defense ferociously and all this stuff. He didn't look at that and say, that's what I want to do. He didn't say, I want to perfect my craft and be a complete player with no holes in his game. He said, whatever holes I got in my game, I can get a teammate. I can handpick a teammate to cover that hole up for me, right? For example, he can't shoot that well when he first came in the league, but he's a great facilitator with the ball. So what does he do? The offense was installed to where everybody on the court with LeBron James preferably needs to be a shooter, including his center, Big Z, shooter, had to be able to shoot. He didn't post up much with LeBron James. Mo Williams, shooter. Boobie Gibson, shooter. Danielle Marshall at the 4, shooter. Antoine Jameson, when he had him, shooter. The guys who wasn't shooters didn't stay there long. Larry Hughes came and went. He's not a shooter, so hey, I'd rather have Pavlovic playing because he's a shooter than Larry Hughes. Larry Hughes is a better player, but I want the shooter. Boobie Gibson, I want the shooter. What's my man name? Damon Jones, shooter. Like those guys work really well with LeBron. I'm not a shooter. Just give me the ball in the middle of the floor. Y'all spread the floor. I find you. Instead of him saying, let me become a good shooter as Michael Jordan and Kobe did. He said, just give me teammates that can do it and we'll make it work that way. The problem with that is when you get great shooters, they're usually not all-star level players. Right? There's not a lot of all-star level players back then that were great shooters. Ray Allen was one of them. Michael Redd was an all-star a couple of times. But other than that, the all-star level players were players like LeBron, Wade, Iverson. All these are not complete shooters. These are not great shooters. So in order for you to say I need shooters around me, that means you need average players. That's why his teams seem to look average, because he wanted them all to be shooters, and those don't usually be the players on his level, right? So he went about it the wrong way. He put his eggs in the wrong box. I want all my eggs in the I need to get my resume to match Kobe and Mike's, or not even Kobe, probably just looking at Mike. So instead of him saying, I want my game to be modeled like Mike, he said, let me look at everything Mike got on his resume and let me try to catch him that way. I don't think I can get my game as complete as Mike. So let me try to just catch the resume. He got 6 rings. I go for 6. He tried to do it his way in Cleveland. It wasn't working. So he was like, I'm running out of time. I need to catch Mike. So he rushed it. He took a shortcut, went to Miami, made a super team, and he told them not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9. That's how many rings he really wanted to get with that super team, and he was only able to get 2. Not as easy as he thought it was, even with a super team. He was like, man, how the hell did Mike and Kobe do this? I done lost 3 championships already, and I'm halfway through my career. I only got 2 out of 5, right? So he was like, well, shoot, man, am I gonna be able to catch 6? So now he's on his third thing. The first thing was, I'm not gonna be able to be as good as Kobe and Mike. Then the second thing was, let me catch the rings. And he realized that's not easy. Then he said, well, the way I'm accumulating all these stats, let me just get as high as possible on the all-time stat list, and then maybe that'll work. And if I just keep forming teams, I leave every time my co-star get old, I leave and get a newer, younger one that's not hurt, and I just kind of keep everything going so I can get in the championship and hopefully I can get 6, but I definitely can get these stats. So he went for the stats. That was his back door into the GOAT conversation. All right, so I say all that to say this. Draymond Green, we about to listen to this again. Here's Draymond Green. I'm gonna stop it when I get to a point.
Who your top 5?
My top 5 is LJ number 1, MJ number 2, Kobe number 3, Steph number 4, and Shaq number 5.
Okay. You got Bron first.
Yes, because what Bron has done, like when you talk about Cicely Tyson.
Yeah.
So he said what Bron has done, and then he stopped and didn't tell us what Bron done. Then he said, when you talk about Cicely Tyson, and I think what he's trying to say is Cicely Tyson is an actor, and she played in a lot of movies, and she's been acting for a long time. She's got longevity. So I guess he's trying to speak to his longevity. And then he's going to say this.
Bron started in 03. By 2005, Bron was the best player in the NBA.
Pause. Is that true? Let's fact check that. Is that true? He came in 2003, missed the playoffs as a rookie, but the rookie Carmelo Anthony and the rookie D Wade both was in the lottery with LeBron, but they took their teams to the playoff rookies. LeBron James missed the playoffs as a rookie. And Melo was in the West. It's stacked out there. For him to make the playoffs in the West as a rookie, that's impressive. LeBron didn't make it in the East. Second year, LeBron missed the playoffs again. So he's telling me LeBron missed the playoffs in 03, missed the playoffs in 04. By 05, he was the best player in the league. All right, let's look at this. 05-06 season highlighted in yellow. That's the year that Kobe Bryant averaged 35.4 points a game. Kobe Bryant also that's the year that Kobe Bryant scored 81 points against Toronto. He also had a game where he scored 62 points. He scored 51 points twice. He scored 50 points twice. A bunch of 40 points in there. The man was on fire. Didn't have that much of a squad. He playing with Bill Walton and Smush Parker. But it's clearly Kobe Bryant who's the best player in 05-06. I'm sorry. I just don't see where LeBron was the best player in 05-06. He was the scoring champion that year. He was the scoring champion in 06 and 07. He could have been scoring champion in 2010, but it was between him and Kevin Durant, and it was up to the last game, and Kobe Bryant decided to sit that game out to get ready for the playoffs. So, I mean, we can document it right there at 2005, 2006, and kind of, in my opinion, clearly say that LeBron was not the best player in the league. It was still Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
In 2020, he was still the best player in the NBA.
In 2020, the year that he won in the bubble, I guess that was your reasoning for saying he was the best player in the NBA. But that's the year Giannis won the MVP, and I think he got back-to-back. And all I could remember is everyone telling me that Giannis was the best player in the NBA then. So I'm confused, right? I'm very confused. And I don't think LeBron has been the best player ever since 2014. I don't think he's been the best player in the year in the league. So definitely wasn't in 2020.
He was the best player in the NBA no matter what the game did. The game went from 2 slugs, like slow big man, to like a stretch 4 big man, to like back to 2 big men, to like big man.
You out there playing up on the phone.
What does that have to do with anything? Just because the game changed and LeBron was still in the league and still performing well, don't make him the best player. Like the points he's making, he was in the league. He was the best from 05 to 2020, which was a lie. And then he says that I don't know what we had big men in the league, and then we went to stretch fours, and then we went back to big men. And LeBron still is like, LeBron's not a big man. He's a wing. So I mean, what does that change? So you went from two big dudes down low to a wide open paint. Actually, was a plus for him. That made things better for him for the way he played. That doesn't tell me that he's the best, but since he want to say he was the best in the league for 15 years from 2005 to 2020, I already showed you that 04 or 05, 06 was Kobe. Let me tell you what else Kobe did, so we can get a glimpse of how long Kobe was the best, right? 05, 06 is Kobe. So here we go to 07, 06, 07. He averaged 32 points that year, 06, 07. He was the scoring champion that year as well. Then he got another display where he's on the court with all the greats because it's the All-Star game. He got All-Star MVP that year as well in 07. He got All-Star MVP in 2009. He got All-Star MVP in 2011. He got the league MVP in 2008. He got to the finals in 2007, 2008 when he first got Pau Gasol and Phil Jackson back, lost to the Celtics, went back to the finals 08, 09, beat Orlando, the same Orlando team that beat LeBron and put him out of the playoffs. All right, the team that beat LeBron, Kobe beat him in a gentleman's sweep in a crazy dominating fashion. Then he went back and played that same Boston Celtics team that had the super team in 2009 and 2010, and then he beat them. In between all of that, 2004, LeBron James goes to the Olympics and lays a dud and comes back with the bronze, which is why everybody gave him the nickname LeBron's. Then in 2006, they go back to the FIBA World Cup and get bronze again. They losing to Argentina, and Ginobili is whooping them. Spain is whooping them. Carlos, led by Carlos Aurora. Like, they getting whooped by these guys. They looking like the best players on the floor, right? And then Kobe Bryant decides, man, I'm tired of seeing y'all lose. I'm gonna come play with y'all in 08. Listen to what Coach K, who was coaching the team, said about Kobe in 08.
Coach, do you have any favorite Kobe stories?
Yeah, a number of them. The best one, or one of the best ones, was when we were starting to build a culture at USA Basketball. He, Chauncey Billups, and Jason Kidd were added to add veteran leadership to LeBron and Carmelo, and those guys who were great guys. And so we're getting ready to get ready for Beijing, and so I'm with my staff in Vegas a couple days before the team comes in, and all of a sudden there's a knock on the door. Just 2 days early, and it's Kobe. He said, "Coach, can I talk to you for a minute?" And I said, "Certainly." So we went to a private room, and I said, "What do you need?" He said, I need to ask you a favor." And I said, "Yeah, what is it?" And he said, "I want to guard the best perimeter player on every team that we play." Now, he's the NBA scoring champ. He's the best player in the league at that time.
Best player in the league.
750-point games that year. And he knew that he would have to change a little bit and be a leader. But he says, I want to guard the best perimeter player. And then he pauses, and his eyes, he and Jordan had the same eyes. They killed you with their eyes. And he leans forward and he said, "Coach, I promise you I'll destroy him." So I got, holy shit. I said, "This is good." So we go and we have a team meeting. In the first practice, he doesn't take a shot. He does not take one shot. And he's playing defense. And so I call him over afterwards. I said, yo, this destroy thing. He says, Coach, I promised you I'll destroy him. I said, look, I've seen you destroy teams offensively. Will you shoot the frickin' ball? And he smiled, he had that smile. And he said from then on, I was the only coach ever to ask him to shoot. And you know what he was doing, JJ? He had this vision of moments. He knew that for us to win the gold medal, we would have to beat Argentina, whether it be in a semis or the gold medal game. And that he wanted to guard Ginobili. Believe me, he already had that figured out. And he was going to prepare to guard Ginobili. It wasn't just to set an example for his team. He had that vision. Crazy. So we do play Argentina in the semis. And we're beating them by 20 points, and Ginobili gets hurt. So now you think we're going to win by 40. And it becomes a 6-point game because now he's not interested anymore. That's who he is. That's who he was. God bless him. And
so that's the greatness of Kobe Bryant. And this is 2008 when they got their gold and he came in and displayed what he displayed and volunteered to be the defensive stopper, and because he felt like that's what the team needed. And he said, I can't wait to play some of these guys so I can lock them up. And that's exactly what he did. Right. And then he still hit big shots in the championship game, right? Or the game against Argentina. So it wasn't like he wasn't scoring, but the point is, I wanted to point out a couple of things. Coach K is documenting and on the record for saying Kobe was the best player on that team and the best player in the league and the best player in the world at that moment, 2008. So we at least got from 2005 to 2008 where we can get credible sources and credible statistical data that'll show that Kobe Bryant was at least the best from 5 to 8. Right now, after 8, I mean, if you go win the championship 2008, 2009, mind you, he comes back, wins gold at the Olympic Games, then he go back and win a championship, then win a back-to-back championship, and you don't went to the finals 3 years in a row, and you got the league MVP in 08. I'm trying to figure out where the room was for LeBron to be the best from 05 to 08, or really from 05 to 2010, right? I mean, that's the last year Kobe won the finals, and finals MVP was 2009, 2010. So at least all the way from 5 to 10, we can say that the best player was Kobe Bryant. So obviously Draymond Green out here capping real bad, just straight up lying for LeBron. Go tell that lie with them young kids on that podcast with him that don't know no freaking better, I'm like, man, come on, man, they so impressionable. And it's people that hear something like that and won't even fact check it and just assume, man, LeBron been the best in the league since 05. That's can't be further from the truth, right? So I said earlier in the on the last segment that I think Kobe Bryant was the best player in the league from 2002 all the way to 2012. All right, so we done already took everything up to his last championship of 2010. Was he still the best in 11 and 12? I mean, I guess you can debate that. I think LeBron won an MVP shortly after that. Let me see when LeBron won his MVP. I think LeBron won an MVP, but I mean, we can go to Shannon Sharp saying this, who's the LeBron guy, 2012, greatest basketball players of all time, Guy, Air Jordan, and Kobe in their order. So we can say at least in 2012, there was some credible people who still felt like Kobe Bryant was the best. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and just say, yeah, I think Kobe Bryant from all the way up to 2012. So what Draymond said, 2005, LeBron was the best. I think Kobe was the best from 5 to 12 for sure. Not LeBron. And I think LeBron got in that time in that space. I think he got 2 MVPs. Right, but this is the year that his 2 MVPs. I think he had the best record in the league twice. But both times he got put out of the playoffs early. We all thought that they was going to meet the Lakers in the finals. It was going to be a Kobe and LeBron face-off. And we got let down every single time because LeBron didn't hold up his end of the bargain, and he kept getting sent home by Paul Pierce and Dwight Howard of Orlando, right? So I don't know how much of a better player he was than Kobe. I don't think he was better than Kobe at that time at all. Kobe started to decline around 2012, and I think that's when LeBron took over. So personally, I think LeBron was the best player in the league from 2012 to 2014, and Kevin Durant won the MVP in 14, and that's when he really showed that he had took a step. So I really think LeBron was on the best player in the league for 2 to 3 years. But if I want to be a little bit lenient, let's go back to 2010 when LeBron had got an MVP, I think, and Kobe, that was his last championship. So let's just be nice and say 2010. So LeBron, in my opinion, from 2010 to 2014 was the best player in the league, right? And then Kevin Durant took over, and then obviously after Kevin Durant took over, Steph took over. And you could take your pick between KD, Steph, or LeBron. Take your pick, right? I always thought that ever since KD won his first MVP or his only MVP, that's when he became the best in the league. And I think the last time he was the best player in the league was the year he tore his Achilles, right? So I think KD held it down for about 4 or 5 years, and then after that, it turned. Everybody said it was Giannis. I still thought it was KD. Everybody said it was Giannis, and then 2 years ago they said it was Jokic. You know what I mean? So I don't know how it just keep hopping like that. When Jordan was the best player, he was just the best player. When Kobe was the best player, he was just the best player. It wasn't like it was something that was switching every year. All right, so let's listen to the rest of Draymond.
He's been the best, no matter what. When you look at the teams that Bron has carried to championship or carried to the finals, MJ didn't.
He's not finishing his things. He's not finishing his points. He said when you look at the teams that he's carried to championships, not teams that he's won championships with, because every team that he won a championship with was stacked. So he's talking about teams that he carried to the championship. We only go talk about one team, and that's the team that he got swept by San Antonio with in 2005, I think, or 2007. Whenever. Hold on, let me see what year that was. I think it was 2005, 2007. But if you look at this path to the conference finals, I mean, this roster that he's talking about, and let me show you this. 1999, the highlighted year at the bottom of the graphic. That's the year that the New York Knicks went to the finals, and they lost to Tim Duncan and the San Antonio Spurs. The reason why I point that out is because I want you to see, because everyone has linked LeBron's legacy to dragging teams to the finals that don't have no business being to the finals. And they're acting like that's unique. That's what they've been doing in the East since Michael Jordan left. The East has been weak, right? The East got very weak. And the teams on the East usually only had one star, one all-star, or one superstar with role players. And when you look at the Washington Wizards, they had Gilbert Arenas and role players. And when you look at this New York Knicks team, I wouldn't call them stacked. It depends on who you think Latrell Sprewell and Allen Houston is. Which one? Neither one of them are superstars. Consistent all-stars, not even really. I mean, they both made all-stars before, but consistent. Let's call them all-stars. So you got the Knicks with 2 all-stars. No Patrick Ewing. He was injured that year. He was on the roster but injured. They had Larry Johnson after the bad back. They had a young Marcus Camby, who rarely played into the second half of the season. Chris Childs. I don't think they had Charlie Ward that year. Chris Childs, but yeah, I mean, that's not a very impressive roster. And they got to the finals, right? So if Allen Houston and Latrell Sprewell can drag their Knicks to the finals, why are we impressed that LeBron can do it? All right, let's go to 2000. The Indiana Pacers. Reggie Miller, Mark Jackson. Reggie Miller is a star, all-star, not a superstar, all-star. Now, mind you, none of these teams have superstars on them. You got Reggie Miller, who's an all-star. You got Mark Jackson, good player, but role player, not even a scorer, just a good passer. Dale Davis, Antonio Davis, they could rebound. They big. And Rick Smicks. I like Rick Smicks. Rick Smicks is good. But that's your that's your star and your co-star, Reggie Miller and Rick Smicks. No superstar on that team. Right? And Rick Smicks is kind of equivalent to Big Z. Right? And the reason why I'm going over this, because I want you to think about the roster that Cleveland had with LeBron. Philadelphia. Now we're getting to a superstar. Philadelphia, but this is probably the worst roster I've ever seen in the finals. Philadelphia was Allen Iverson, their superstar, but your superstar is 6'1", a little guy, right? So you got a superstar surrounded around role players. No all-star in sight. Nobody even close to all-star. Maybe Mutombo. We can say Mutombo is close, but he's not a scorer. He's a shot blocker, rebounder. Can't go to him for points like that, right? Eric Snow was the starting point guard on that squad. The funny thing about that is they really relied on Eric Snow. And the funny thing about that is Eric Snow was also on LeBron James championship roster, but he didn't even get in the game. So LeBron's roster was so much better than Iverson's that Eric Snow couldn't even get off the bench. But Eric Snow was a starter, a key contributor on the Philadelphia 76ers squad with Allen Iverson, right? Eric Snow, Iverson, Aaron McKee, George Lynch, Mutombo. Not impressive. And then you got 2 years back to back of Jason Kidd carrying the Nets to the finals, and his second best player was either Kerry Kittles or Kenyon Martin. No all-stars. So the East was known for having their star carry them with role players surrounded around him. Allen Houston did it, Reggie Miller did it, Iverson did it, J. Kidd did it twice. So if none of those guys are superstars, Iverson is, but the rest of them are not. And LeBron James is supposed to be a top 5 player of all time. Some of y'all think he's the GOAT. If Iverson and Reggie Miller and Allen Houston and Jason Kidd can carry a team through the East to get to the finals, then why are we shocked that LeBron could do it if he's a superstar that's on par with Kobe and Michael? That's not impressive that he was able to get that team out of the East and get to the finals and do the same thing. As a matter of fact, he didn't do the same thing because the Knicks didn't get swept by San Antonio. They got a game. Indiana got some games against Lakers. Iverson, this team was so stacked. Well, not so stacked, but this team with 2 superstars on it with Shaq and Kobe, 2 superstars. They beat everybody in the playoffs. I think they was undefeated. They got to the finals. They could have had an undefeated playoffs, but Iverson had better plans and beat them in game 1, shocked them in game 1. Even Iverson can get 1 game. J. Kidd didn't get swept by San Antonio or the Lakers. So if Iverson can get a game and J. Kidd can get a game against these stacked teams in the West, why LeBron James get swept by San Antonio? Do you want to know why he got swept by San Antonio? Because he couldn't shoot. And the game plan for LeBron James was to make him shoot jump shots, go into his screens, don't double him, don't help off the 3-point shooters. And it was an easy 4-0 sweep. But we supposed to be impressed because he's supposed to so-called drag teams to the finals. Now, that's the only team I can think of that he dragged, because if you want to think when he went to Miami, that's a super team, so it's not them. Then when he went back to Cleveland the second time, he had Kyrie, Kevin Love, and J.R. Smith. So it wasn't those that he carried to the finals, because those are great players. And if we're talking about the year that he was in the finals and against the Warriors, and he only had J.R. Smith and Matthew Dellavedova, but he also had Kevin Love in that series. So that's even a lie. Kyrie Irving had got that. No, that was the year Kyrie Irving. That's the year he had left and went to Boston. I think. Was it the year he left and went to Boston? I think so. Right. So That's even a falsehood. So there's only one team that he had that had a real a roster that looked like it was dry, and that was when he got swept by San Antonio. And like I said, that's not impressive because J. Kidd did it twice, Iverson did it, Allen Houston did it, Reggie Miller did it, and they all won games against those stacked West teams, but LeBron wasn't able to pull one off.
Beat the greatest team ever assembled, nor did he run up against the greatest team ever assembled every year.
The greatest team ever assembled. So he's talking about the Golden State Warriors team with MVP Steph Curry, Splash Brother Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Iguodala, Harrison Barnes. That's not the greatest team ever assembled, but they did win the most games in history. They broke the Bulls record. I don't even think the Bulls was the greatest team ever assembled, but they did have the greatest player of all time on it. So maybe you can make that argument. But no, I don't think the Warriors was the greatest team ever assembled. I think they hit the league by storm right at the right time, and it took people a while to figure out. Kind of like when Miami Dolphins first started doing the Wildcat and people couldn't figure it out, or like when Cam first started going crazy with that read option. You know, it takes the league by storm, and it takes people a year or two to kind of catch up, or put a roster together to kind of maybe contend with it. So, you know, them shooters, the way they were shooting and the offense they was running and all that stuff, man, it took people a while to figure out what was going on, but it wasn't the greatest team ever assembled. I think they just caught fire at the right time. But just because LeBron beat them makes him better than somebody? No, they don't make you the GOAT. I would rather be the player who the team is the best because I'm on it than the player that said, I was able to beat this team. Michael Jordan was the head honcho of a 70+ win team, not the person who was able to beat them in the finals. I mean, because if you're so much better than Steph Curry, why is the Warriors, you know, so favored over you? If you're LeBron James, you have no equal in Golden State. Steph Curry was not your equal. You was LeBron. You was at the height of your power. Steph was not your equal. Kyrie Irving and Steph was on the same level. So when you actually look at the roster, Kyrie and Steph was on the same level. Kevin Love and Klay was on the same level. Or you could say Klay and J.R. Smith. I think Klay was a level above J.R. Smith, but J.R. Smith is really good. It's just that the way they played in Cleveland, you was only going to get to see how good LeBron and Kyrie was because that's how they ran their offense. Everybody else was catch and shoot. K Love was catch and shoot. J.R. Smith was catch and shoot. That's how it was. But J.R. Smith is otherworldly, right? So I would say he is on the level with Klay. I think he's better than Klay, but Klay's shooting ability is so unmatched. But when you look at J.R. Smith for real, and evaluate him, he's a better player than Klay. J.R. Smith could be a number one on a team. I don't think Klay can. But so let's say Klay and J.R. on the same level. Draymond and Kevin Love was on the same level, right? So the only person who didn't have an equal was LeBron. LeBron was at the top of the pyramid with no equal. When KD came over to the Golden State, that made it even because now you got Kevin Durant and LeBron on the same level, Curry and Kyrie on the same level, Klay and JR on the same level, and Draymond and K-Love on the same level, right? That made it even. So why wasn't the best player in the world leading the Cleveland Cavaliers, who had a point guard that was just as good, if not better, than the guy that you was facing on the other side in Curry? How come Golden State was still favored? That's because Golden State ran great offense. Cleveland really didn't. They ran hero ball offense, right? They just had two juggernauts running that offense, and it made it look good.
You look at the skill set that Bron has. There's nobody that has ever played the game of basketball that can do what LeBron James does on basketball court.
You look at the skill set of LeBron James, and there's nobody on the basketball court that can do what LeBron James does. But then he doesn't tell us what LeBron James does. So we got to guess. Well, we know LeBron James gets a high number of assists, between 7 and 8. He gets an average number of rebounds for a small forward, between 7 and 8. Larry Bird would get you 10, right? Larry Bird would get you 10 with 7 assists, right? Because he was a real small forward. He was a forward, right? So LeBron James get you 28 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and he would run point forward or point guard, and he would score and he would assist. He could pass and all that stuff, right? So he's saying nobody could do that. Well, Oscar Robertson was the first person to make that famous. Russell Westbrook did it and won an MVP. James Harden did it and won an MVP. Luka Doncic is doing it right now. Michael Jordan did it the year before Phil Jackson came, and he actually averaged a triple-double for the second half of the season when they put him at point guard. He played shooting guard half of the season. The season wasn't going the way they wanted to. Doug Collins said, hey, look, we're going to give you the ball and let you run point. And for the rest of the season, he averaged a triple-double. And not just a 20-point triple-double, a 37-point triple-double. 37, 10, and 11. That's what he averaged. So for you to say nobody else can do it, no, that's not true. There are people that can do it and who have done it and who are doing it still. The only difference between Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant is that they was too smart to continue to do that, because it's not winning basketball. And that's why LeBron's championship seems so freaking hard, and he had to do so much maneuvering. And every time you get a team together, it starts to fall apart after a while. And you got to, he's always making mid-season trades, and it's not working with this guy and it's not working with this coach and all this stuff. You got to make so many different moves because you're running an offense that's a dead end. It's a miracle that you actually got rings. You got your first 2 with a super team. You can run a bad offense. If you got a super team, you can make it work. So your offense is so bad that you kept getting put out by teams that are lesser than you, and you couldn't figure out that, man, maybe I shouldn't be the primary scorer and the primary ball handler, point guard, and primary distributor. Maybe that's too much for one person to be doing, right? Maybe I should run a better offense, right? You haven't figured that out. You said, instead of me changing my style of offense, let me just go and get enough talent around me where it doesn't matter. And that's what he did in Miami and got those 2 rings. Then he came back to Cleveland, and that's when all the luck started happening. Oh, man, Draymond gets kicked out. Y'all come back from a 3-1 lead. Y'all was getting rocked in that series. Once again, that offense not really working for you when you go against good teams. Getting rocked in that series. Y'all should have went home, but you came back from a 3-1 lead. Then you go to LA. Everything looks horrible. You have a horrible first season. Then you make all these trades. You get AD there. Still not looking good. And then the bubble happens. And if that season wouldn't happen, you would not have a ring in LA, because you can't get through 82 games with this team with your age trying to play the way you play. So if it wasn't for that bubble, you wouldn't have that ring. So 2 lucky gimme rings and 2 super team rings. Like, this is crazy.
Nobody. Michael Jordan could do just about all that LeBron James does.
Just about all.
Except for he for damn sure couldn't pass like Bron.
He couldn't pass like Bron. Now, this is the only thing I agree with. I think LeBron is a better passer than Michael Jordan. But if I grade LeBron a A+ as a passer, I grade Michael Jordan a B+ or A as a passer. Michael Jordan can pass, but Michael Jordan can score way better than he can pass. And he'll rather do that, because guess what? He knows that winning basketball, you got to involve everybody. Why would I play point, like getting 8 assists as a point guard, or get 6 assists off the ball when I got a point guard that's getting me 8? Like Pippen was getting you 7 or 8 as a point forward, and Michael Jordan was off the ball, hey, you can facilitate Pippen because now we're double dangerous. I got a great facilitator, 6'7" point forward who can get to the hole and dunk on you and make the pass. Right? I can be a catch and shoot. I can be a post player. I can play off the ball. But guess what? I'm so good as a scorer, you got a double. And that's how I get my assists. I get my assists when that double come and if I have to dish out. That's different, right? So you're not going to get a whole bunch of highlight passes. Even though Michael Jordan got a lot of them, you can go look it up. He's a great passer, right? But it's just really easy and lazy for people to be like, oh, man, LeBron passes better than Jordan. Jordan couldn't pass. No, Jordan passed very well. He averaged 6 assists without being a point guard. He just shot more than he passed.
They had a vision like that.
I love MJ. I think MJ is incredible. Like, MJ is MJ. Like, we all wanted to be like Mike. Like, I wear 23. Come on now. Like, we all want to be like Mike. But what LeBron has been able to do and how he can control a game and, like, to do it this long, like, MJ retired. Like, this shit's...
He's not telling us that. He said how he can control a game and didn't tell, like, what do you mean how you can control a game? What if LeBron is special at how he can control a game, you have to tell me why that's important. What how does that make him better than people? Because if your greatness and how you can control a game got you 4 rings and the way I do it got me 6, why are we bragging on that? Obviously what I'm doing is better than what you're doing. Obviously what Steph Curry is doing is better than what he's doing. Obviously what Kobe did is better than what he's doing. Like, seriously, like, Tim Duncan got 5 rings in the same era with LeBron. Kobe got 5. Curry got 4. What are we saying that is so impressive that LeBron is doing is different than everybody? Because I control the game? What? Why would Michael Jordan want to control the game if he got a point guard and a point forward?
Ruling. Like, going to the finals year after year after year. Bron went 8 or 9 straight.
He just naming all this stuff and ain't connecting it nothing. Going to the finals year after year after year. Magic Johnson came in his rookie season, won a finals as a rookie, and had to play center when Kareem went down in the finals, and won as a rookie. And he went to 9 finals. Guess how many years Magic Johnson played before he had to retire for the virus he contracted? He played 13 years. Guess how many times he went to the finals? 9. 9 out of 13. 4 years he didn't go to the finals. 9 out of 13. And here we is bragging about going to the finals 9 times out of 21 years, going on 22 years, and only winning 4. Get out of here. And then he said LeBron grinded it out. Mike quit halfway through. What? So Mike grinded it out during the season by playing 82 games. So, I mean, if you really want to think about it, which one is impressive? Playing, how many years he played before he retired the first time? I think probably 10 years. Played 10 years, played 82 games, probably 8 of those years, because you had the broken foot 1 year. I think maybe 2 years he didn't play 82 games out of those first 10. 82 games every season. Leading score, all first team defense, all this stuff. Then on the other hand, you got LeBron, who wasn't playing defense his whole career, who took rest on defense, and then he also load managed and missed games. I don't think he's played 82 games more than one time in a season. So you getting rest during the season, and then you want to talk about he grinded it out? He's missing games left and right, 20 games a season, versus this guy that's playing every night, 82 games. And you saying that LeBron grinded it out and Jordan had to take a break? He didn't have to take a break. He was stressed because his dad passed. This don't make sense.
Straight. Like, MJ took a break right in the heat of that shit. Bron ain't taking no break. You know what he did? Went again and again and again and again.
With different guys every time.
Yeah, like I said, Magic went to 9. Jerry West went to 9. Bill Russell went to 11. He probably went more than that. I think he won 11 out of 12. Or 11 out of 13, maybe. He went 13 times. Come on, bro. This is not impressive. This is not impressive because he played without taking a break and that like you haven't described one thing that makes him a better basketball player. You're talking about all this fluff and you ain't connecting it to nothing. This is ridiculous.
And again, so for me, that's why it's Bron over MJ for me. And on top of that, the talent nowadays is way better. And I'm sure one of the old is going to say, you out of your mind, and this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. The talent is way better. Just like the talent at Apple is way better than the talent that was working at Apple in 1991.
Game is way better.
2 points. The talent at Apple now is better than the talent at Apple 10, 20 years ago. What point are you trying to make? Like, all right, so Michael Jordan won 6 rings, LeBron won 4, right? So if an Apple person 20 years ago won 6 employees of the month and the employee this year won 4, but you're going to tell me what the talent at Apple is more than it was back then. So are you saying that the 4 employees of the month are more impressive than the 6 that he got back then? Because your competition is your competition. Now, let's take this back to basketball and a team sport. If the talent level in the NBA's pool is more, then that means LeBron gets to play with more talent, not just compete against more talent, right? So, and whatever talent Michael Jordan had as a pool, if you're saying the talent level was low, all right, then that means he's got less talent to play with. That makes sense. If the ceiling is here for Jordan's era, then you can't get a player here on your team. Everybody that's here can't pass the ceiling in Jordan's era. So the competition is still even, right? You got teams with one superstar like Michael Jordan, Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler, Barkley, Karl Malone, and then they got a co-star, Pippen, Stockton, Terry Porter, Kevin Johnson, Ewan and Mark Jackson, or Ewan and Derek Harper, right? So you got superstar, co-star role players. So you got less of talent, but it's distributed the same way. And if you got more talent, then that's when you get distributed the same way. But this is the thing. You saying it's more talented now, but LeBron is grabbing most of the talent and trying to put it on his team. Like, this dude really had Ray Allen, Chris Bosh, and Wade on his squad. There's no other team who had a dynamic like that. Not 4 of them dudes. Now, we talk about Boston being a big 3 with Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Garnett, but you had Ray Allen on your bench. That's how good your squad was. You had Ray Allen on your bench. You had Mike Miller shooting the lights out. You had Rashard Lewis shooting the lights out. Come on, man. The talent level is more. What does that mean? That don't mean that he was going against more competition. That mean that he played with more talent.
Different now. It's crazy. Bron's still up there, man. So
Still doing it.
1 or 2, 3,
You're
best
20.
in the league. It's crazy.
It's year 20.
20 is crazy.
Playing at a high level.
He's still at the top of the discussion in year 20.
I hear.
Yeah. I don't know. Y'all let me know, man. Maybe I'm tripping. Y'all let me know in the comment section if he was hitting. Like, I don't know. I thought that was lame. You let me know if he was hitting. I don't know.
Coach, do you have any favorite?
Yeah, that's man, that's tough. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, man, this is the last thing I leave you with. Michael Jordan set the bar so high, it can't be reached. It's just not gonna be reached, because what I was explaining earlier is that he made himself a complete player with no holes in his game. So unless you make yourself a complete player with no holes in your game, There's no point in comparing and even looking at your resume unless your resume is so out of this world that we ain't got no choice. Because I mean, why would you make an incomplete play? Like, the bar is set this high. Why would we lower the bar to say someone in this area is better than Mike? Like, he made himself a complete player with no holes. You can't compare a player with holes in this game to Michael Jordan. You can't even get in the conversation with holes in your game. The first thing you got to do before we even start debating if you're better than Mike or if you the GOAT is if your game is complete with no holes. The only person who got their game that high of a level to reach that standard was Kobe. But like I said, his resume was lacking, so that conversation ended quick. LeBron has never made his game complete. He still has too many holes in his game, still can't shoot free throws, still got robotic footwork, still travels all the time, still have to run full speed to get to a high percentage shot. You know what I mean? Still all-time turnovers at all time. Still can't play without the ball. Still can't post up. Still don't have a mid-range. Like, he's got to still take plays off on defense. Still airball free throws. Still airball three-pointers. Like, this is ridiculous. So to have that many flaws and holes in your game, you can't be compared to Mike. It's over. You can't be compared to Kobe. It's over. Kobe was complete. Mike was complete. And Kareem's resume is complete. Those three are on lock. Mike, Kareem, Kobe. Those three are on lock. The next player that comes around, if he ever get his game to be complete like Kobe or Mike, then that debate will start again. But as of right now, the debate is over. There's no debate. Last thing I say, what LeBron is trying to do is he think that if he plays long enough and he get enough records, we'll overlook the holes in his game and continue to try to compare him to Mike. But this is what he's doing. Imagine if we're sprinters and we're trying to see who the best sprinter is, and we run 200 meters and I dust you. I beat you at 200 meters. But when I finish the 200 meter race and I walk off, you keep running. And then you do a full lap around the track. And then you come back and say, hey, look, I broke a record for one lap, so that makes me a better sprinter than you. That's what LeBron is doing. The race is over. Mike played 15 years, retired. And everything that Mike has done, 6 rings, 6 finals MVPs, 5 MVPs, steals champion, defensive player of the year, 10-time scoring champion, 9-time all defensive, all of those things. Even passing Mike on the all-time scoring list took him 16 or 17 years, when Mike only did it in 15. And really, he didn't even do it in 15. It was less than that because he missed 2 seasons to injury. So it took you so many years to even pass Mike. So you think just because Mike stopped running and he beat you in the sprint that you can run the whole track and say, hey, I'm a long distance runner, which makes me a better sprinter than you. No, you lost as a sprinter. You lost as a player. You didn't make yourself as complete as Michael Jordan as a player. You just because you continue to run or continue to play doesn't change anything. You can't come back with longevity stats and say, all right, well, now I'm a better scorer than you because I passed you on the all-time scoring list. No, you just keep playing thinking that's going to change something. Nobody's going to forget that you're not a better scorer than Michael Jordan or Kobe just because you passed them. All this longevity stuff you're doing is really embarrassing. It really is. But that's all I got to say about it, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section.